ready?
Go ahead.
Okay. Today I was going to present an update on the Columbarium. Why don't we go to the second chart? In a moment. There we go. This chart here is just one that we had from before. This is showing a picture of what the Columbarium would look like out the back side of the church. It's the Columbarium. It's got 60 niches, and this is shown with patio and a walkway and benches. And so if we go to the next chart, why Columbarium at Good Shepherd Church? Carl Eric's going to have a few words to talk about that.
So if you look at this chart, you can see they've wonderfully shown how the number of burials versus the number of cremations are in cross. The burials are going down and cremations are going up. And I'm here to confirm, and anecdotally, as far as this is in fact the case at our own congregation as well. In the 8 years that I have been here, this is by far, it has been overwhelmingly, I should say, maybe 75% to 25% cremations versus burials when it comes to our funerals and memorial services that we do here at Good Shepherd. And even some of the ones where we have had the deceased here present with us, they've been cremated after the service. And so it's a reality that we are facing here at Good Shepherd that follows the national trends. But I also wanted to let everyone know that for many years, many have believed that cremation was not okay as a Christian, that you had to be buried in a casket in your fully body, particularly in hopes of the resurrection. The thought that you had to have your body ready to go at the moment's notice when that trumpet sounds, and that you would be ready to go. And the ELCA has come forward and wants everyone to know that we as Christians, at least in this church, believe that is not a requirement. That we believe cremation is a completely valid form of burial and a way of resting at the end of life. And we think of this particularly in terms of the story in Genesis, in which God created Adam. In that story, we hear that God took dirt, piled it together, spit on it, put a little moisture into it, and formed a human being. And now this tells us that God's creative love can do far more and doesn't need to have just raw materials ready to go, particularly in a finished body, but can take your body in whatever state it is in and can create a new body for the sake of the resurrection out of that. And cremation cannot be a hindrance between you and God. Interestingly enough, that this is the same logic that is put into for donation of organs. So if any of you are selected to be an organ donor on your driver's license, know that this same way of thinking applies to your organs as well. We believe God's creative power is far bigger than where any of our organs happen to be at that moment, or at what state our body is in, whether it's having all of its pieces together or in ash form or some other form of decay. That got really dark, but this is a Columbarium meeting, so so be it. I will now hand it back to Tony on that note.
Thanks. All right, so that was the first reason for why I called Columbarium a Good Shepherd Church. And if you advance to the next chart. The second reason is location, location, location. We have a beautiful grounds here at Good Shepherd. And if there's ever to be a place where you want to have your resting place be, this is one of them. So I guess that speaks for itself. Let's go on to the next chart. This is a picture of the Columbarium from an overhead view at where we're sort of planning to have it. And this diagram sort of shows how the different columns and where the different urn niches are going to be. This shows kind of the naming diagram, and some of you probably have seen that, those who've already purchased niches. And this will tell you how to pick out the niche that you might be interested in. If you go to the next chart, please. This shows our current sales. All the ones in orange are niches that have already been selected. But you can see there's lots of good niche locations left. We currently have 11 niches that have sold. Our goal was to get to 17 at a minimum to be able to buy the Columbarium. And ultimately, we'd like to get to 24 so we could put in patios and walkways as well. But you can see here that we're getting started. We've generated enough interest that we want to kind of continue on. Let's go to the next chart. Okay, funding and status. This is sort of the meat of the presentation. Today, like I said, we have 11 sold, and 17 are needed to cover the price of the unit. However, due to what I call COVID inflation, and the prices are going up, I haven't got a new price for our Columbarium unit yet, but last time I talked with Cold Springs, they said, yeah, the prices have gone up. And we put in a request for a new bid. That'll be good for 6 months, but I'm guessing around 45,000 versus the 40,000 that we originally were assuming. Still, we're hoping to get enough sales, and we're looking at adding a new enrollment period after the one that ends on November 1st. But there will be new cost structures and new prices as a result of the increasing in costs. I mean, we have always expected that over time, the price of the Columbarium niches would go up, but we didn't expect it to happen during the first few months of our fundraising program, so this is sort of a surprise. On November 1st, that's the end of our original enrollment period. We will return any money to people who want to pull out at that point because we don't have enough to fund the Columbarium, but we would encourage people to stay in it and then go with the extended enrollment period. Let's go to the next chart. This will show the new costs. As you can see, it's gone up about 12.5%, and this is a simple math problem here. I took every number we had from before and multiplied by 12.5 and rounded to the nearest nice number. We're getting new cost estimates, and so these new costs that will be enacted on November 1st might be adjusted once we get those estimates back. Hopefully they'll come down a little bit, but we'll have to find out. But there will be a change in the costs. So if you want to, if you're interested in getting involved with the Columbarium before November 1st, you get the old price list, which is better. But after that, the prices will go up. So let's go to the next chart. This is the picture of the final, hopefully, what the final Columbarium project will look like. Not likely to happen for a lot of years, but we're in the phase 1 stage right now. And at this point, I'd entertain any questions. Nobody wondering if they could buy a niche?
What's a half a niche?
A half a niche? Well, if you want to, let's say you want to be in the Columbarium, but you're only one person, you can buy a half a niche, and then the next one person that wants to do it would be placed in there with you. And you'd each have separate names and that kind of stuff, but you'd be in a niche. Yes?
So in the case of a half niche, then you wouldn't necessarily know who your partner was going to be, right? It would be whoever next was looking for a half niche.
Yes. So in the case of a half niche, you might not know who your partner is going to be. You could, if you went out on your own, found somebody else in the community that you thought would be a good partner for this, you could certainly buy it together. But if you didn't want to go to that, we would find somebody for you, and then we'd pair you out. Okay, I guess that's it for today. Thanks for joining.